Hey guys, this is Ray with US385, and I wanted to talk about financial independence. This is part two in a continuing segment because there are a multitude of parts that are required to become financially independent. The first step, as we talked about, was releasing the mental debt that we have, that we go into the situation with, which kind of helps us to repeat the same things that we've continued to do in the past. So once I found that I released my mental debt and was able to think in terms of being debt-free, what I did was I took steps, measured steps, to paying off my obligations. Now, as I mentioned before, I had a touch of consumerism. That's the only way I can put it. But during that time frame, we received multitudes of boxes of products from Amazon, which is why I mentioned Amazon. Most of us are doing the same thing. It's okay. I'm not trying to offend anyone. I'm just trying to present an option if you're struggling with financial difficulties. So the second step after freeing your mental constraints to realize that you can move forward in positivity is to begin plugging the holes. And what do I mean by that? So one of the things that I realized I was spending a lot of money on were services that I wasn't even home to enjoy or appreciate. For an example, cable services or telephone services, or things that weren't 100% necessary, especially since everything was being streamed on from Netflix or from YouTube. And since I only had Netflix and YouTube that I was streaming content from on a regular basis, well, that automatically eliminated about probably $200 worth of monthly bills, because we no longer paid for all of the different channels and all of the different services that we didn't really subscribe to anyway. And that also freed up our vision, because we didn't spend so much time focusing on the negative news and the media and the things that kind of make us worry about certain familiarities and predictabilities of the environments around us. So what I mean by that is that, instead of watching news and coming out thinking, man, everything is so negative and I might not survive if I go out into the general public. If I was approaching it with fear, then I would begin to act irrationally. For an example, I recently had an opportunity to drive some people from a northwestern location down towards the San Antonio area, and the natural route would have been on the I-10 corridor. But for whatever reason, because of the news, the people I was traveling with believed that their life was in peril if they traveled anywhere close to the border, to the Mexico-Texas border. And so we drove as far east as we could before descending south to reach our final destination. And that made the drive a little bit more difficult, just based on what was being transported, etc. No matter what it was basically a big moving van. But no matter the content that was being transported, the reason we went a certain direction was based on fear first, and not on logic. So again, we're typically subscribing to a lot of things based on things that we're trying to conform to. Fear-based logic. So, if my friends are watching cable, well, then I need to know cable. I need to understand what it is that they're understanding so that I can talk with them. That's fear-based logic. I mean, if you really aren't into sports, and you weren't in the beginning, not to the degree where everyone seems to have plenty of money for that now, but people don't have money to pay their own bills, well, then maybe you don't subscribe to or belong to that philosophy. And those are the kind of things that you're gonna see in your own mind as you begin to figure out what your holes are. And my financial holes definitely included cable. There was an abundance of going out to eat. And we kind of curbed the going out to eat and spending on things that we didn't really need, and we started refocusing the money on helping other people to receive the things that they needed, and it was interesting along the way, because a lot of the quality items that I had purchased in the past were coming into use with people who had a need for those items. So the purpose of what I've been building, I fit my niche. I'm able to provide services and assistance to people who are getting outdoors, taking pictures, trying to relax, trying to make money, and trying to experience positivity in their life. So I've fully been able to experience those dreams, and I'm definitely monetizing those aspects. In the meantime, the circuit of people that I was formerly associated with wouldn't reciprocate those bits of good news by simply just revoicing those things so that I could gain traction. So I started questioning some certain friendships in terms of how they were regarded directly by those people who I believed were my friends. So the second set of holes that I found that needed to be quieted were basically these friendships that I really thought I had, but I didn't. And this is what I mean by that is, if someone's not looking out for your financial well-being and doing everything they can to help dig you out of your own debt and offering options, well, they may not be your friends, especially if the direction is one way. And by that, what I mean is, I've had a lot of people in the past who were extremely quick in trying to find out when I was available, only when they could help, and when I could help, and then whenever I wanted to maybe see them for something other than just that bit of help they needed, it was a lot more difficult to see them. So when it comes down to it, knowing who your friends are is another thing that you can do to mitigate the bleeding. And I say that with a little bit of sadness, because nobody wants to realize they that they had some friends turn their back on them. And at the same time, I don't think that's really the case. I think that all that's happening is that people are coming up short, they don't know how to deal with it, and it's hard to take responsibility anymore, because we frankly haven't had that example set for us before. Not by our own fathers, at least to my knowledge. In my case, I'm not saying everyone else has had this kind of lifestyle, but apparently a lot of my friends are very similar to myself. The big difference is that responsibility is something that I kind of took it for granted that everyone was a bit more responsible. But you know, live and learn. In the meantime, what you can do is stop the bleeding by plugging the financial holes. And to do that, you simply eliminate those things in life that are not serving you. You're either serving it or it's serving you. And the thing is, you're either on the same team or you're not. And I've seen that in scripture, I've seen that in lyrics, I've seen it a multitude of ways, and so have you. So if you're doing something and it seems like a struggle, well, it might be a struggle. And if it's a struggle, you start wondering, well, why is it a struggle? Maybe you're not doing the thing that you're here to do. Maybe the more that you go in the direction of what you were well suited to do, the more you will come to realize that you're able to make money, comfortable money, doing exactly what you want to do to live the life that you're wanting to live. And if that involves going to sporting events all the time and sitting front row and paying for $20 for a snack and $20 for parking and still shooting for retirement at the same time, well, that's cool. You might get there. And then again, there's a lot of time that you might not have been able to spend together with people in a way where you actually connect with those people, rather than discussing the events that happened in a sports, in a game, in an event that you didn't yourself participate in, other than just watching and contributing money to it, and wondering why you had to wake up so early to go to work the next day in order to pay for that same very thing, which may or may not have won you any kind of long-term personal gain. That's basically how I feel about what we're spending on, and how we look out for each other. It's real simple. We can spend on things that directly relate to our own friendships and to our own community, or we can spend errantly, and that's the second part of getting out of the hole for financial independence. So think about what you're spending on and rein it in, because not everything that we're spending on even reciprocates any kind of value to us, and that includes friendships, unfortunately. So that's it for me. Have a great day. Hope that makes sense, and I'll be bringing more segments to you. But right now, again, the first steps are overcoming the mental obstacle, the mental debt, and then the second step really is overcoming the physical debt. And in order to overcome the physical debt, first we had to address the mental debt, which again we talked about in the prior segment. And now the physical debt. So just think about ideas, again, post comments about things that you've done to save money, whatever it is that you're doing. For me, it was basically reducing the influences that I wasn't even listening to anyway, and marching in that direction that you are destined to march into, so that you can succeed and help out where you're intended to help out. For me, I see a clear vision of where I'm intended to help out, and thankfully I've had true friends put me in direct alignment with the path of success to accomplish these goals. And I've got a lot of amazing family members who have done the same thing. And some people question what the heck it is that I'm doing, and just kind of sit back and watch it happen, because they know that what I'm doing is with good intent. And some people actually further my activity by doing what they can to voice what it is that I'm doing, share what it is that I'm saying, and to understand that all I'm trying to do is present a holistic approach to healing our communities again. And that first step is to, for me, based on what I'm seeing in a good populace of my own demographic, that first step is to break the chains of debt. And you could use this example for anything. It doesn't have to be debt. It doesn't have to be monetary related. But usually the hurdles that we're facing they begin in our mind. It's just like I've mentioned in the past. It's really just us versus us. It's us versus ourselves, really. And I know that a lot of what I'm saying sounds like, well, it doesn't apply to me. Well, it might apply to someone else. So when I talk about this is from personal experience, and other people in your own segment might have a need to break from the chains that bind them. So, sharing what I'm saying it may not mean anything to you one way or the other, but it sure means a lot to me, because there are many people who understand what I'm saying, because I'm putting it as simply as possible. And it's hard to misinterpret something which is put so simply. However, it is easy to imagine it as being sharply worded. Now, the only reason it's easy to imagine this as being sharply worded is because, again, we're in an offense-heavy society where a lot of things offend us for some reason, when they really shouldn't. They shouldn't offend us when we're sharing knowledge between each other, especially look at the setting I'm in. I'm under the fig tree here in nature, in my own backyard, trying to explain how I overcame certain things that were limiting me in my life, and I hope that this is something that you can at least listen to and understand, that I'm not the only one who's overcome certain struggles by simply having just a little bit of faith in what I was talking about, but more importantly, or maybe equally importantly, putting in the action that basically drives forward the steps that help to reach the goal that I'm trying to reach. Other people can do the same exact thing. It's just a matter of commitment and willpower. And on that note, I'm gonna go and have some blueberries for breakfast, and I've continued to march to the same beat and enjoy the same levels of success that I have since I started talking about this stuff. My health is improved. My skin is clear. I have all the outward attributes of good physical health, and inwardly, even though you're not seeing it because you're not in person, I have attributes that show sound mental health as well, which is weird, because the more I get in touch with reality, the more I start feeling like everyone else is a little bit um, running a little bit amok, running a little bit amok, um, driving towards things and spending on things that essentially have eroded our own personal time and wealth. So I'm wishing wealth, extreme amounts of wealth on you, abundances of time, and I'm telling you what I believe helps to free some people from the chains that have constrained many of us for far too long. So again, hope you're having a great day, and it's no mistake if you're listening to this, that you are listening to this, and if you've at least considered that the first step of freeing yourself from the mental hurdles is something that you can actively do. And when you start thinking about the second step, which is plugging the holes, is there something that doesn't serve you? Do you spend on something that causes ill health, even though you want better health? Are you trying to reduce your prescriptions and still smoking cigarettes at the same time? Do you owe something to some segment of creditors but can't pay that, and yet you're actively spending on something else that basically is a daily routine and taking your money away? These are the kind of things where you simply start to observe yourself, and maybe not maybe don't dwell on it so much as a mistake, but think about it as an opportunity. It's not offensive. It's just something that was presented to us as an option. And maybe we didn't see the other option because we've always been choosing the same option based on prior examples set for us by other people. Now, whether or not you're doing your own thing, it's hard to say. Whether or not I'm doing my own thing is hard to say. A lot of what I've been doing has been influenced by other people. Now, there is a difference in the things that I've done prior to approaching things with a little bit more faith, and after approaching things with absolute faith. And the big difference is it's easy to recognize what I'm doing that either makes people feel better or helps people, or things that are just solely for personal gain. There's one thing that will make you feel shiny and new on the inside, and that's basically helping other people feel shiny and new. So, I don't know where else to go with this in that regard, except for do something for someone else, because that really makes it real, and that's the kind of thing that will help drive your success, both spiritually and monetarily. It's true. It's a proven formula. It keeps working. It works over and over. The thing is, be gracious for what it is that you've received, and use the tools or the skills that you have to help others. It's really that simple. Plug the holes, overcome your mental obstacles, and that's basically steps 1 and 2 of financial independence. I know you can get there. I got there, and to me, that's one of the lessons, that once we take responsibility for what it is that passes between our hands, and and the transactions that we conduct, whether it's eating food or spending on something or giving to someone, those opportunities are things that you can immediately feel in terms of the benefit to you and the people around you, and there are certain actions that are way more rewarding, and those actions don't have to be exclusive. It doesn't have to be that you make money at just, you know, doing things for others out of the kindness of your heart. You genuinely do that though, and you will find that there's a genuine appreciation for that, and you will be rewarded monetarily for that. The fact is that obviously people need to make a living, and if you see a need to fill a hole, then, you know, you basically take that opportunity. Those are opportunities to work for you. So the other, I'll just go straight into it. The other thing is, how do you make money? You know, I mean, what do you see around you that needs doing? And for me, I saw an opportunity. For an example, I recently attended a meeting where many of the attendees mentioned that one of the difficult things was finding a ride, because their physical stages in life basically made it more difficult than normal to get to a place. And you've noticed this among our elder population as they've advanced, you know, in time. It's like all of us, we're all going to reach a point where we don't have the same independence that we've had, and we're going to need to rely on each other at some point. Could be today, could be tomorrow, could be, you know, sometime way in the future, who knows. But while you're fortunate enough to be able to physically do the things that other people are not able to do, well, you right there have a winning solution in terms of being able to do something to make a difference in other people's life. So if you hear a complaint more than once, and you're thinking, you know, I have an abundance of space and maybe I can do something about it, put that thought into action, and be rewarded for it, even if it's just spiritually. And you'll find that those opportunities which make you smile will bring you more opportunities to earn income. So how do you make income? Just be the helpful person that you are. That's it. That's it. And as you do that, you're going to be in the right place at the right time. So I hope that I've brought some positivity your way, and I hope that you're having a fantastic day wherever you're at, or night, if that happens to be what it is where you're at. Some people like short segments. I know this is a long segment. It's just, I think, how it has to be said in order to map out something that's effective for the people who are looking to make these positive changes in their life. I know I was, and I know that somebody helped to guide me in the right direction when the time came. And so it's my honor to put this information up here. It would also be an honor if some of you who saw this thought, you know, there's people who I know who might understand what this guy is saying the way he's saying it, so I'm going to go ahead and share this. That's basically, that's the only level of help that I need at this point in terms of finding my audience. So if you're able to help me find my audience by sharing these things, great. I know that many of you haven't listened to this at all because you're obviously not my audience, but without your assistance sharing these things, I'm kind of floundering a little bit, reaching the people who I know I need to reach. And most of those people that I've been reaching have been face to face, not on social media. And obviously I'm just me, so, you know, it's not like I have this large platform or anything, but I do have a large group of friends, and I have noticed a disturbing trend in that some of us have definitely treated each other differently from what I thought friends would treat each other like. And I get that. That's just been the norm. We've all learned something. We've all grown. So I hope you have a great day. Again, this is Ray with US385, and I'm looking forward to hearing your stories of success. And if you can't find a way to focus on things where you can actually spend the time thinking about mapping out a plan, or feeling just free enough to have these thoughts long enough to come up with a winning combination, to feel at ease with your decisions or your thoughts, then I strongly encourage getting out into nature. And I'll continue to hammer away at one of my favorite places to go to, which is Big Bend National Park. The isolation that's out there allows you to really fully immerse yourself in the thoughts that you have, and once you're able to do that, well, there's no telling what you might think of, especially when it's not interrupted with segments of whatever's happening in some other place that you have zero control over. So control your own life, control your destiny, control your fortune, and just get back in control. That's all you need to do to make your fortune and to become financially independent. And that starts with, again, overcoming the mental obstacles, and then physically starting to address the situations that you recognize as detrimental to yourself. So take care of yourself and enjoy the day. That's all I've got to say from this side of the screen. Have a good one.